Hey friend, this is Carissa with Admin Design Hero. Today we will be recreating the Design Cuts Scandinavian art poster tutorial, but for PowerPoint. We previously did a version of it in Word, and now we're going to take these same pieces and create a presentation. As we go through this tutorial, hopefully you will be inspired to try something new or to see how you can take other projects that you already have, brochures, annual reports, websites, whatever, to create a more integrated look to your business materials. So here we go. Okay, first of all, in step one, hopefully you've already downloaded the freebie file at the link in the post from Design Cuts. If not, pause this video and do that now because we're going to be using all of those files. Then you're going to open a new blank presentation, and you can either do the wide width or the smaller one, depending on what you'd like to use this for. The wide width just gives you a little more space. And you can do this on master pages if you're going to use this for a presentation, or you can just transfer them later. It's up to you. You're going to insert the file ht15.tif from the folder called offset, and then resize it so that it fills the entire page. It's going to hang off a little bit, but don't worry about that. We'll take care of it later. Step two, you're going to add a box on top of this file, and you're going to fill it with a gradient. On Design Cuts, they recommend a light blue and a dark blue for the gradient, but with the Microsoft tools, we'll need to keep it a little simpler. So I just use the dark blue. The color of that is number 0F3450. And you can see that on the slide here. If you open up the color palette and go to the RGB sliders, it gives you a spot labeled hex color number, and you're going to paste this 0F3450 in there. And then when you click OK, that gradient stop is going to show up with this dark blue. So then I created 3 different gradient stops. I just changed the color, or you can always add one or take them away using those little plus and minus signs. And I kept them the same color. And then on step 3, hopefully this little video will play for you, and you can see what I did with the transparency there. And for each gradient stop, I changed the transparency slider bar. And this part is very flexible. You can do whatever looks best to you. The main thing you're looking for is you just want the blue to be nice and dark, but then you also want to see places where that texture is showing through, because it makes it kind of look like maybe it's kind of a leathery background or something. So once you're happy with that, then we're going on to step 4. You're going to go into the freebies folder and go to the Julia Dreams folder and insert the file border-01.png into your slide. With the artwork selected, go to the Format Picture tab, and then to the Picture Color drop-down menu. Under Recolor, you will see a bunch of variations on how you can change the colors under the Presets drop-down. I went with the gold preset so that it will resemble the original work a bit, but you could choose something else depending on what you're going to use this for, but I would recommend doing it in a light enough color that it'll show on the blue. Okay, and then this is what that looks like. And you're going to resize the artwork so that it resembles the size, and then you're going to place it kind of where it would be to match the final product. You can always adjust the size later. Step 6. So make a box and type in the word Scandinavian. You're going to want to make sure there's no fill in the box itself, and then resize the word so that it is big enough to match your artwork. And for the word Scandinavian, I downloaded the font that Design Cuts recommended, which is called Bold Rough. And bold is spelled BOLDE, and rough is just ROUGH. It's from a website called DaFont, and it's a free font. Or you can just choose another grungy, sans serif, blocky font. For the Word version of the poster, I actually used a font called DCC Ash, and that's also another free font. I'll put the links below. You can fill the word with a gold color, or you can use a gradient fill. I used a gradient fill this time. On the Word version, we used a red from the original color of the artwork. I used a preset you can see where I put gradient fill, and then under the gradient presets, there was one that kind of had this gold color and this dark brownish gold, and I used that. I added a white gradient stop in there to create that reflective look that metallics kind of have, and then I just kind of adjusted the transparencies and stuff until I was happy with it. I mean, it's not going to look completely metallic, but you can kind of give it a little bit of that look. Step 7. Once you're happy with the gradient, copy and paste the word so you don't have to remove the color and redo the gradient again. And then type the word art in that copied and pasted version. And you're going to change the font of the word art to a font called Wild West, which is also from DaFont, so it's also a free font. Or you can use another scripty font that you like. And then you're going to resize it and move it so that it sits right below the V in Scandinavian. Step 8 is a little bit of a side step. You can skip this if you'd like, but I decided that I'd like to fix the spacing between the A and the V in Scandinavian. So I pasted another copy of Scandinavian on the slide. I deleted the word from the V to the end on one copy and the SCANDINA on the other copy. So you can see I just have partial words. And then I moved the VIAN up next to the front part of the word. And then I lined up the bottom of the letters and pushed the V part closer to the A to tighten up the word a little. If you use a different font that doesn't leave that gap, or you just don't have time, again, you can skip this step. Step 9. Paste another copy of Scandinavian and type in a retrospective look at its influences and future direction. Change the font here to Avenir if you have it, or another typical sans serif font like Myriad or Arial or something along those lines that you would have. Change it to all caps. Change the justification to right justified. And then I put mine at about 14 point, but that may be different depending on which font you went with. Make your text box small enough that it forces the words into 2 lines. And then that box should be able to snug up under Scandinavian and next to art. And if it's too small, you can make the text bigger or smaller and just try to get it in that little area. Step 10. Insert the floor ornament files from the Julia Dreams folder. I placed the 4 ornaments in a square so that I could select them all and resize them all together, so I don't have to do that individually. But you can do it however you'd like. They need to be resized. And when you resize them, you're going to want them to look, they're going to have to fit underneath your other artwork. And don't worry about it if you're having a hard time with that. You can always tweak the sizing later if you need to. Just get it close enough. And then while you still have them all selected, you can go back to the recolor presets and either make them the same color as the border file or to something complementary to your artwork. Maybe all red or all blue if you want to go with that Scandinavian theme. Then you're going to line them up generally how you want them to look. So somehow in a row. This is a great time to resize them again if they're a little too big or a little too small. But don't worry about lining them up perfectly. We'll let PowerPoint take care of that for us. You can rearrange them to match the order and direction of the original poster if you'd like. I just left mine as they came in from the file. Okay, step 15. Once you have your squares relatively set, I want you to select them all and then go to the Picture Format tab and then the Align drop-down menu. Click on Distribute horizontally. This should evenly distribute all 4 so that the space in between each of the images is the same. While they're still selected, I want you to go back to the Align drop-down and then click on Align Middle in the vertical section there. This will align everything based on their center points. You could use either of the 3 alignment tools in that vertical section. I just chose middle because I know the middle on there is going to be accurate, but in this case, you could use any of them. Now select the ornament with the large pine cone or leaf-shaped thing on it and copy and paste that. Drag it to the corner, and I don't think you'll need to rotate it, but if you need to move it a bit, make it so that the leaves are in the corner and snug it right up to the edges of the page. And then copy and paste and repeat the procedure in the top left corner. And then select both pieces and copy and paste. And then while they're selected, drag them to the opposite side of the page and set them into the corners there. Now this is an optional step. You can do this at the beginning. It probably would actually be easier if you did, just in terms of seeing the whole art piece. Or you can just leave it, since the background shouldn't really show, but we're going to crop that background image, that texture piece. You're going to select that. You're going to go to Format Picture and Crop, and then adjust the settings until it only covers the slide page. And then there you have it. At this point, you can adjust the size of everything and tweak anything that you don't love, but that's basically it. And for a bonus, we have a few more slide types. For more slide types for an actual presentation, duplicate your slide. And here's option 1, deleting out everything but the corners. And this would be good for using it as a content slide, or you could use it as a buffer slide. Option 2 shows how you can use a copy of the word Scandinavian and resize it to use as a header on your slides. I just threw in some content to show coordinating the gold color. I wouldn't use the gradient on the smaller type or the words will be really hard to read, but that's up to you. I would just say readability would be a factor there. You could always use white text also, but I think this gold is nice because it matches what you've already done and it's still pretty readable. And here's another option for reusing the word Scandinavian as a title slide. So there you go. Thanks for listening. Let me know how you use this tutorial, or if you have a style that you've been trying to copy that you would love to see replicated in Word or PowerPoint that you're having a hard time with. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at admindesignhero.com. With the newsletter, you get notifications of new tips, tutorials, and reviews, as well as some fun extras. Have a great day.